Mike is one of our brand new, although you're, what, a couple of years now, in the business as a vendor of laser cut kits. Beautiful work, and he's working in a number of scales, and he's going to present what he's up to and what he's maybe thinking about. So, Mike, thank you for being with us and welcome.
Thank you, sir. I think the best way to start out is to kind of step back and talk about kind of why I started down the road. I've been a modeler for, my whole life. I don't remember. One of my senior projects in high school was a diorama scene in for a military scene for a World War II battle. So I don't remember a time when I've not been modeling. But more recently, I started doing commission work for some of the club members in a local club in Denver. I was doing how-to build videos for a couple of vendors, Banta Model Works, Berkshire Valley Models, Best Trains, and that all just kind of expanded into a desire to actually produce my own kits. So July of last year, we actually released our first kit, and that was a barn at Placerville. It was a very simple structure, nothing challenging, and then it just grew from there. We've done HO, O, and S scale kits. Most of the kits come out in HO because I modeled in HO, and then predominantly most of them come out in S scale, and then I'd say probably 2/3 to maybe half of them come out in O scale. I get a lot of requests for the smaller O scale kits, not so much for the larger kits. And a lot of it comes from requests from people that are interested in a certain area. I modeled the RGS, so you're going to find a lot of RGS structures. But I'm kind of curious with maybe a Q&A session once I get done. I can show you kind of some of the structures we came out with, and then kind of what other interests are out there. I know everybody's modeling different parts of the country. I myself have done a lot of videos for the East Broadtop for Banta Model Works for all their East Broadtop HO scale kits that they've done. And I could do a lot of that main yard, but my goal is kind of to model RGS. So I've got a big chunk of shelf space occupied with East Broadtop stuff, and even some rolling stock kits and things like that, and some a couple of Blackstone hoppers, but I'm not really sure what I'll end up doing with that stuff. Let me go through and I'll show you some of the kits that we've come out with. So I started talking to Bill Banta originally about doing a kit together largely because I wanted one. So, and that's how a lot of these kits get started. So we started with the Ridgeway office building. We actually started talking about the roundhouse, but this one was an easier one to produce, and it was one that he had done in the past. So we started with this kit. This one came out in just HO. It was resin cast walls, laser cut doors, windows, roof, and the stairs. The foundation is thick. This whole thing is a fairly heavy kit. It's very, very thick resin cast walls. But this was just kind of the first one. The Ridgeway roundhouse was what I really wanted, and that was the reason for actually starting to talk to Bill. So this was 18 months in the process of getting released, and I actually increased the number that we were going to release because I thought it was fairly popular, and I was getting a lot of requests for it. So the first one's actually been is out of stock. This one is, I've got a couple left, and then it's going to be done. This is actually an S scale version. This is Sam Furukawa's layout. He didn't have enough room for a 7-stall roundhouse, so he has the 2 goose stalls and 3 of the engine stalls. The kit's actually a 7-stall roundhouse, so it has 5 for steam motive power. So this is just one that we released in just HO, and we don't plan on releasing this anytime in the future, because like I said, I've got a couple left. That really tells me that the market's been saturated for now, and we may do something. Now, we own the rights to this roundhouse and the office building, so those are ours going forward, at least in HO scale. He's produced this in other scales, so this is actually one of his S scale kits. But we took over the 7 yard buildings, outbuildings for Ridgeway. That kit's actually ours now. And then that little box car to the very far right in the photo, that is a storage box car that sat outside the roundhouse right there. That was one that he offered for us to produce that one together, but there's enough out there. I found mine on eBay, so I'm not sure we'll actually do anything with that as a kit. It's very nice. I really have to give a lot of kudos to Bill for getting me started as a kit producer, because without his support and without kicking these 2 kits off, I would still be a modeler and not a producer. So thanks to Bill. There's my plug for Bill. So after we did the Placerville kit, a buddy of mine, Mike Conder, did we hunted down and designed a 3D printed school bell for this kit. And this was done just off of photographs from Placerville and being on site. Later, it turns out that there is a Blazek plan for this, and that would have saved me some time, but measurements came out pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with it. The other side is that this was actually originally a church that was in Placerville and was up the hill, so it actually got moved downhill and then turned into a school, and then there was windows put on the backside, which you really can't see. And so this was a kit, and all laser cut. Doors, windows, you can make the lower sashes open if you want. You can make the doors open if you want. The shingles are all laser cut paper. 3D printed chimney. This one is thanks to Mike Conder, like I said. But there is a couple other kits coming out with that Jonathan Sauer and I have been working on together. He's been doing the 3D printed chimney work on that, and if it wasn't for us collaborating on that, the kit probably wouldn't, those kits probably wouldn't be coming out. A couple of houses in Placerville. So moving on, this is I met John Coker at the Tacoma National Narrow Gauge Convention, and he had a watercolor that I really liked. And I asked him afterwards if I could create a kit for him, and if I could use his inspiration, his watercolor, to do this kit. So this photo is actually missing the railing upstairs, and there's a little decal that we added later on. So some of these kits go through a little bit of evolution, but all laser cut. The glazing, the windows, doors, shingle material, everything else. The railing is all laser cut. We may 3D print that because I think the finer detail would be good. The thing that was fun about this kit is we did the interior. So the upstairs walls are sitting off to the bottom of the photo, and there's a couple of bedrooms that are there. There's a space for a stairway. We didn't really decide where we were going to put a stairway, but it's got floorboards in it and downstairs wall. Then I discovered Telluride, so we started doing stuff in Telluride. There's a bunch of storefronts that we did. There was a restroom by the depot that we did, and then there's an engine house that we did, which is a single stall, kind of a unique building. But a bunch of these have large windows in the front, so they're begging for interior detail. This one has floorboards on the inside. The structures are all MDF construction on the inside, so you don't have to worry about the wood warping so much. And then the basswood siding just gets glued to the, the nice solid square MDF core on the inside. So, and some of these practices evolved from doing commission work for people in a local train club. So I got to pick and choose things I liked about them, things I didn't like. So I kind of evolved what we were going to do. The most advanced one that we did, this was probably 4 kits ago. This is the Conder section house. My wife does the graphic design work for the front of this. She did the sign based on actual photos from the Friends of Cumberland and Toltec. 3D printed chimneys. These are again Mike Coker who did these. And again, now not all the kits have interiors. I'd say about half of them do. I don't bother with the little tiny structures, but the structures that are fairly sizable. This one has this is based on floor plans that we found with the Cumberland and Toltec, the Friends of Cumberland and Toltec. So the modeler can do this kit. We're probably going to do osier, and we're probably going to do another of the section houses on the Cumberland and Toltec, but I haven't really decided at what order that next kit would fall into line. So, but this one was a lot of fun to do. The front steps are raised up a little bit because the ground line drops off to the back just a hair. The other two, Sublet and Osier, both have pretty dramatic drop off to the backside of the structure. So that's going to require the modeler to kind of embed it into their scene. This one would be a little easier to embed because you really don't have to dig it in that much. It's maybe 1/4 of an inch from the front to the back. The ground line's pretty flat. So, and then I just can't seem to get out of Placerville. So this is another one of the structures. This is the flour and feed warehouse that sat kind of behind the depot. There's 2 warehouses that sat next to each other. And this is actually can be broken in half into the left half and the right half. And they're essentially just glued together. And it had 2 versions, one that had corrugated in it and then one that didn't have corrugated in it. And because I had a lot of guys that were telling me that they wanted to use their own stuff. And I had like 5 different versions of corrugated. And I said, okay, I'll offer a corrugated version and then one that you can not have to have me mark up corrugated. So that's an example of a few of the structures that we have. We've done, I think, 31 structures since July of last year. All of those are HO. And then S-scale, there's, I think, 22 or so, and probably 20 or maybe 18 O-scale kits. In the future, I have a 3D printer sitting behind me, still in the box after I got home from the convention here in Denver. Still haven't opened it. It's way overdue. It's been sitting there for a month. I have no excuse other than the fact I've been trying to restock. We had a great show in Denver. Denver was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see any of the layouts that were even in the room because we were manning the booth the whole time, and there was people coming by constantly. So got into a lot of really good conversations, got to see a lot of people face to face, got to see some people that I hadn't met from England and France. I haven't met face to face, but I've traded emails with them quite a bit. In the future, we're probably going to continue down the road where we're going to do Ridgeway and at least build it out, because at this point I have the roundhouse, the outbuildings. I already built the sand house and then the office building. So a rags depot I have, and that just needs to get built. So I have a lot of track work to do. We've talked about possibly doing a turntable as a release, but I will probably do one for myself at least. And then beyond that, I don't know. But I'm trying to step around some of the other kits that have been made in the past, but I know eventually I'll probably end up doing a few that will be duplicates. So, but generally there's enough out there to build out. I've got most of Placerville done at this point as far as adding additional kits. So I am curious to see what other people have as far as questions and suggestions, because we drive a lot of our business based on what other people are interested in.
Mike, what would be the basic set of information you'd like to have from somebody suggesting a particular building?
I mean, at this point, we're looking at probably HO scale or S scale. So the gauge is probably already defined. We do some conversions to O scale, but I'm pretty wide open. I don't want to do anything around the East Broad Top because I think Bill Banta's, I mean, he's released like 8 or 9 kits. I haven't built the last one. I think it's the electrical shop, but the other 5 or 6 I already have done videos, how-to videos. So I'm interested in stuff like the White Pass. I first started getting into narrow gauge with the narrow gauge Southern Pacific stuff. I didn't build anything, but I got a book a long time ago, and I got that from for a birthday present, and I've read that and gone through that thing, worn that thing out. So the dust jacket's long gone.
Well, actually, what I was asking, if I had a particular building, would be great idea for you to build kits. What kind of basic information about the building would help you get started? Like plot plan and photographs and so on? Or how much research do you need done ahead of time?
As far as the RGS stuff goes, I'm pretty stocked up on stuff. So that's really not an issue. When you start getting further afield from that, then I start need to lean on people a lot more. As far as what I would need for measurements and things, I can do a lot with photography. And if I have any of the Sanborn maps, I can at least get a basic footprint. So if I can put a footprint down on, and use that as a base for the wall links, and then I get, then I know I can scale the rest of it a lot easier. Photographs of each of the 4 sides is wildly helpful. A lot of the structures that I've designed, I haven't had plans. I'd say about half of them I've used Blazek plans for, but I mean, he only did plans for a little bit of CNS, a little bit of SP, a lot of Denver and Rio Grande Western, a ton of RGS. So I have that to fall back on. But when you start getting into less documented stuff, at least photographs of some of the more common sides that people would see on a layout, and then we can kind of, collaborate and guess on the backside. A good example is Craig Symington and I did the bar cafe that sits at the curve in Old Placerville. We did an article for that. The back 2 sides, there's no photographs of any of those 2 sides. So we could do the front side and the north side pretty well, but the other 2 sides, it was guesswork. So I kind of tried to mirror the side we knew about and then best guess on the back side. So I don't mind giving up on a structure that maybe we have to guess on the back wall, but we'll probably exhaust all the sources that I can find: libraries, websites, friends sites, blueprints, and some of those Blazek plans. And I've got a lot of almost all the gazettes and almost all the RGS storybooks. So the RGS is real easy.
So Mike, thank you for that. I have a couple of questions in the chat. Two people, Mark Lachey and Jim Spice, said, any plans to do the CT&S section house in S scale? So you've got at least two people want that one, right? So I'll let you answer that. So, you know.
Yeah, so if you're talking about the Cumbrous one?
Yes, the Cumbrous and Toltec Scenic Railroad section house in S.
Yeah, so it's funny you should ask that, because actually when I was organizing some of the little parts bins that I have, I was organizing all the 3D parts that I have that we haven't used yet. The S-scale posts that I got are the wrong size, so I just sent a note back, and we're getting that rectified. I have the chimneys, and I can convert that to S-scale. I've actually sent something out on social media about if anybody's interested, you know, I can do a pre-order on that and take your name and make sure that we get one out. So the answer, short answer is yes.
Oh, that's great. And I added a comment, which is a bit self-referential, but I'm really impressed by how quickly and how many kits you produced in like the space of just over a year. Yeah, I don't need an answer to that one. I'm just impressed by that. Then Rod Jensen says, didn't you show your Telluride Conoco distributor at Denver? Do you have any pictures of that to share that you can show here?
Yeah, I do. So the Conoco bulk oil distributor had a tank, and we're still working on the configurations for the tank, where how many rivets are on here and how many plates and little undulations are. There's no caps on it yet. So we're working on that with a 3D print. But this was one of the upcoming kits that we had talked about for the rest of the year. I've already put corrugated on this one. This one will probably be released with corrugated. Campbell's was my corrugated guy, and he's gone. So I don't have a corrugated guy now. So there's alternates out there, but I haven't really honestly, I haven't spent the time to finish that kit. The other one was the warehouse in Placerville that I showed a picture of. That one was just painted primer and metal etching gray, and so that one got finished. So that one's already done and released. So this one is going to be one of the ones that I'll probably do in the next, I don't know, month or two. We need to nail down what we're going to do with the tanks, and then I need to find a corrugated guy, somebody who's not going to just disappear. So I'm sure there was reasons for Campbell's disappearing. I don't need to know any reasons why, but it was like overnight, you know, the website was gone, and I didn't reach out to him, and I never heard anything back. So, which is too bad, because I really loved the being able to offer corrugated structures. So
Thank you, Mike. Again, great work, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of additional interest in this next couple of months